One day I thought, what if there was a story where the characters, SpongeBob and Patrick, go on a journey and they end up on the surface, which would be not only technically more ambitious, but also just conceptually, you know, that it would kind of bring them into this other reality. That was really the thing that led me to be interested in trying to do a feature with the characters.
It's a road movie. It's a great road movie adventure, and it's just nuts. I am continually dazzled and delighted with what these guys are coming up with.
SpongeBob came from my interest in the ocean. I was interested in scuba diving early on and surfing and really basically loved the ocean. And it's just the most fascinating place. But I also am interested in animation, so really SpongeBob is a combination of these two things that I really enjoy. I was interested in doing a show that starred one character that was kind of an innocent, based on some of the classics like Chaplin and Laurel and Hardy, that sort of humor where these childlike characters unhinge everybody around them.
In your face!
It dawned on me that a sponge was a really odd animal, and that would make a really strange, oddball kind of the center of the world.
Look at this little guy.
That's really where that idea of doing a character about a sponge came from.
Originally, SpongeBob was going to be a realistic sea sponge. He looked like a loofah mixed with a rock, mixed with a potato. Not really telegenic or pleasing to the eyes.
And I was still looking for that kind of squeaky, clean nerd, and I drew a square sponge, like a sink sponge, which isn't a real sponge. Those are actually fake, you know, they're cellulose. But it looked so funny, and it seemed to fit the personality I was looking for. And that's really when things started to take off. I had this square, sponge-shaped oddball that was going to embody innocence in this show. SpongeBob is an adult character that acts like a child, and he has a child's perspective, and he's well-meaning, but this often causes him trouble. I would say the show is really about not losing that, not losing your childlike sense in life, you know, that it can be helpful in solving problems. It also can cause trouble, and it does for him.
We're just kids. A couple of kids in way over their heads.
He is this innocent character. He lives in a pineapple next door to a guy that lives in this Easter Island head-like house, obviously the curmudgeon in town, and that makes for a lot of interesting stories.
I am Roger Bumpus, and I play Squidward J. Tentacles. He's more of an adult, tries to be at least.
I listen to public radio.
He's an octopus, but they call him Squidward. I've never understood. I guess Octoword just didn't work for a name, though. But he's a kind of, I always likened him to the Mr. Wilson to SpongeBob's Dennis the Menace.
Too bad SpongeBob's not here to enjoy SpongeBob not being here.
To me, there's something just so funny about that Jack Benny, loyal to nobody character that Roger Bumpus does such a great job of playing in Squidward.
Mr. Krabs! Oh no, this is terrible! Who's gonna sign my paycheck?
Squidward has a bicycle, and I personally ride a certain type of bicycle, a recumbent bicycle, and they gave Squidward my recumbent bicycle in this. My little inside joke in the whole thing. No one's gonna know it but me.
SpongeBob lives in a pineapple. His neighbor is Squidward, the squid that's a curmudgeon, and then next to him is SpongeBob's best friend, Patrick, who's probably the dumbest guy in town. He lives under a rock, literally.
Patrick is one of the denizens of Bikini Bottom. I'm good buddies with SpongeBob, and we have lots of misadventures.
This one goes out to my two bestest friends in the whole world. Patrick and his big peanut guy.
Everyone knows that Patrick is adult.
Did you see my underwear?
No, Patrick.
Except SpongeBob.
Did you want to?
SpongeBob thinks Patrick is a genius. SpongeBob thinks that all Patrick's ideas are good ideas.
I have to use the bathroom.
That Patrick is a smart guy, that Patrick knows what's up.
I'm supposed to get a toy with this?
Patrick is a gamer.
Thanks.
Patrick is definitely a gamer. And it's an interesting world that it has kind of a childlike, I think, experience of the world around them without the guise of supervision. It's kind of like kids living without parents in a way. I guess you could say that maybe Squidward and Mr. Krabs provide kind of the voice of authority.
What I'm trying to say is, you're just a kid.
But they're not parents, though, so it's kind of a freakish scenario, I think, in that way.
Hello, I like money.
I play Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob's boss, and the only real adult in the regular cast.
$101 for a Krabby Patty?
With cheese, Mr. Squidward, with cheese.
Mr. Krabs is interested in the very mature area of commerce. He's only driven and motivated by money and the acquisition of money, and he hires slave labor like SpongeBob and Squidward, and the only person that he doesn't hire is Patrick, because Patrick's just too stupid to work for nothing.
I love being purple!
And we've all had this kind of boss who's just avaricious, greedy, rapacious, and he's the type of person, again, a good guy. Nobody in SpongeBob's world is unrelentingly, unsalvageably evil, but Mr. Krabs represents that aspect of humanity that thinks that getting rich and having money will solve all his problems.
King Neptune is riding toward the Krusty Krab at lunchtime. He's got money.
We added a couple new characters to the movie.
I play King Neptune, who is sort of mean.
He's incredibly bald.
And notice it bald.
He's in denial because he has no idea that he's bald. What does this crown do?
Covers your bald spot.
Which I don't relate to, because I've never been bald. This crown does much more than cover a slightly receding hairline. If I were bald, it would be terrible, but I'm not bald.
King Neptune is somewhat, I would say, old-fashioned. He rules by, with the iron fist.
Eugene Krabs, your 6-day reprieve is up, and it is time for you to die.
And Mindy is more progressive. Mindy is his daughter, a mermaid, who will one day be queen of the sea.
This crown entitles the one who wears it to be in charge of the sea. One day, you will wear this crown.
I'm gonna be bald?
Thinning!
I play a character named Mindy. She's a mermaid, and she's not a traditional mermaid. She's very independent, and she's very strong-willed, and she's very, she's a good person. She's got a good heart. And she's kind of just like a regular kid, I guess, except for she's got tail fins.
Daddy, please, I think you're overreacting.
Silence, Mindy!
My dad's this sort of tyrannical, kind of a very pig-headed, sort of big iron-fisted force. And my character's like, oh, come on, Dad, like, can't you just try a little bit of, like, compassion for once?
That would be nice.
Can't you just try to feel something for these little sea creatures? And he's like, no, Mindy, no.
There is nothing else I can do.
You can give SpongeBob and Patrick a little more time.
Except give SpongeBob and Patrick a little more time.
Nobody in SpongeBob's immediate circle of pals is a bad guy or an evil person. Plankton, on the other hand, is evil to the point that he sees being evil and taking over the world as his manifest destiny.
I'm busy planning to rule the world!
I'm Mr. Lawrence, and I play Plankton on SpongeBob SquarePants, huh? Pretty good. It's a good gig.
The helmets can't handle this level of rock and roll!
Plankton is about this big, little cyclops. And yeah, he's got a little bit of a Napoleon complex, I'd say.
This monument celebrating my glory isn't gonna build itself.
It's almost like he can't help it. He has this ingrown need to just take over the world and rule everything. He knows what's best for everybody. He's smarter than everybody. I guess in some ways he's like Squidward with a little more motivation.
Anything that drifts is considered plankton. I think it's Greek for drifter, the word plankton. So he is a specific plankton known as a copepod, which is a really common small crustacean. And he's even designed to be similar. He has 2 antennae and 1 eyeball, which certain varieties have 1 eye. They're just like they are a cyclops.
Nothing can stop me now!
He runs a business, also like Mr. Krabs, a fast food business called the Chum Bucket.
I've never even had 1 customer!
But his food is awful, and so no one will go there.
I love the character because he really is smart and he really does know his stuff, but unfortunately he's so, caught up in what he wants, that he wants to destroy things, and he's really just mad that he can't, his fast food place won't go.
If only I could have managed to steal the secret to crab success. The formula for the Krabby Patty. Then people would line up to eat at my restaurant.
He wants to steal the secret formula to the Krabby Patty, or for the Krabby Patty, and which is a ridiculous thing to even care about anyway.
Well, I'd like to hang around, but I've got Krabby Patties to make.
I'll be with my daughter and her friends, and they'll say, "Is it true that you're in the SpongeBob movie?" And I go, "Yeah, I have a voice of one of the people in the SpongeBob movie. I do one of the characters." And they say, "Who do you play? Who do you play?"
Name's Dennis. I've been hired to exterminate you.
Who works for Plankton? And as soon as I play Plankton, they're all like, "Ooh, Plankton."
Plankton was very specific.
Plankton?
Ooh, we hate Plankton. And I've learned now to really push that button with them. So when the next day there'll be a different round of people, my kids' friends, and they'll say, "So are you in the SpongeBob movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I work for Plankton." And they all go, "Oh, Plankton." They hate Plankton. So I'm learning more and more about where everybody fits in the SpongeBob world.
That was beautiful, but we got S a little too hot.
I'm gonna come out there and kill the sound man. Let's do it again.
When you set out to do a movie, there should be something special about the movie, I guess the hook of the movie, what's the hook here? And I think the hook is that these guys are gonna take a major leap into live action, and for us, technically, that's a huge thing. We never really had the characters running around in a live action world, so that was presented an interesting challenge, and I think that for the audience, I would hope that it's a payoff, that they're gonna see something that they would never see during the series.
Oh no. How will we ever get back to Bikini Bottom now?
I got this phone call from Steve, who created SpongeBob, and called me up and said, "Hi, we're doing a picture called SpongeBob, and we'd love you to be in this." And I said, "I don't care what the part is, I'm in." Because when I mention the word SpongeBob around my household, my kids go crazy. I've seen the show, I love the show, but mainly it's because my kids said, "Dad, you gotta do this one." And I love Nickelodeon. I think it's a really positive thing for kids. And so I was really honored and happy to do this. Look up like that, like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, please do it again. Here we go, picture. DH, as I like to call him, meets Patrick and SpongeBob at the edge of the beach, and they're trying to get back with the crown, and they don't have any way to get back, and so Hasselhoff shows up, and he's like the superhero, coming to offer them a free ride back.
Action!
I can take you there.
Who are you?
I'm David Hasselhoff. SpongeBob says, "Hooray, who are you?" And I go, "I'm David Hasselhoff." And I went, "How weird is this?"
So where's your boat?
Boat? You guys.
Good, and cut.
Somebody said, what if he doesn't have a boat? And so he just swims, and basically Hasselhoff comes running down the beach when they need help and puts him on his back and swims to Bikini Bottom, which is out in the middle of the Pacific.
Hooray for Hasselhoff! Hasselhoff!
This is our enormous 13-foot Hasselhoff body.
Oh!
The double size.
700-pound David Hasselhoff replica with hair from a yak. This is from a yak.
And we built a double-sized version because of all the action that takes place on Hasselhoff's back.
Go, Hasselhoff!
And we didn't want to ask Hasselhoff to lay in this position for 2 weeks straight while we filmed macro photography on his back.
Action!
Once Hasselhoff is bringing SpongeBob and Patrick back to Bikini Bottom, and he's cruising along like a speedboat. They're actually riding on his back, and Dennis shows up, and there's a whole fight sequence on the back, goes all up and down the legs, like as if it's a fight on top of a train from an action movie, and like SpongeBob's in danger of falling off into the water, and so there's all these great, shots looking down the legs, and all these amazing shots that we couldn't have gotten with an actor. So we had to build this giant version of him.
Take it easy back there, fellas.
He totally understood that it was campy and that he really got it. And after the shoot, I realized no one else could have done this. I mean, the guy was in shape. He has a stunt double that they worked together with, but he does a lot of his own stunts, and he went the whole 9 yards. I mean, he really worked hard for us and did a performance greater than I imagined. And all the while, I know he was excited to do it for us. He was really helping us out, and great job. He did a great job.
You done good, Hasselhoff. You done good.
On this trek, SpongeBob learns a lot about himself. So there's actually his personal growth in the story is that he learns to believe in himself.
I've been through a lot in the past 6 days, 5 minutes, 27.5 seconds. And if I've learned anything during that time, it's that you are who you are.
This movie is very much a journey that SpongeBob and Patrick take to prove that even though they're perceived as being children and, sort of goofball children at that,
I'm a goofy goober, yeah.
that they are able to achieve great things despite their lack of experience and despite their lack of worldly knowledge.
I did what everyone said a kid couldn't do. I made it to Shell City, and I beat the Cyclops, and I rolled the Hasselhoff, and I brought the crown back!
I guess it is a little bit of a wish fulfillment fantasy that a child would have, is that everything is riding on the green kids just because they're the last people left.
Hooray! We made it!
That's kind of a sidebar. The most important thing is that Mr. Krabs is in peril. It's a story about a crab, and he's been framed by his nemesis Plankton. That's the story.
SpongeBob, me boy! I'm sorry I ever doubted you. That's a mistake I won't make again.
Oh, Mr. Krabs, you old soft serve. Oh, I'm a goofy goober, yeah. You're a goofy goober, yeah. We're all goofy goobers, yeah. Goofy, goofy,